Welcome back to the Braincast. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into, a whole bunch of global events and trends that kind of paint a picture of a world in constant motion.
A world in flux. Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see how these events, from the economic to the social and cultural, are all kind of, intertwined. They're all shaping the course of history as we speak.
Yeah. Let's start with the global economy and the surprising re-election of Donald Trump as U.S. president in 2024.
Yeah.
This victory came amidst, quite a backdrop of controversies, including, a criminal conviction and even an assassination attempt.
Yeah, raises some big questions about the state of American politics. What factors actually led to this outcome despite these controversies? Is it a sign of increasing polarization? Is it a desire for familiar leadership in uncertain times, or perhaps something else entirely?
Yeah, and the economic implications of this election are pretty significant. We've seen global stock markets react with a mix of highs and lows. The S&P 500, fueled by tech giants like Apple and Microsoft, it's reached record highs. But Japanese markets took a plunge, and a lot of it's due to the unwinding of the carry trade.
Yeah. So, the carry trade involved borrowing in a low interest rate currency like the Japanese yen, and then investing it in a higher yielding currency, or an asset. And when this trade unwinds, as it did in Japan, it can lead to significant market volatility. And it really just highlights the fact that global financial systems, they're all interconnected.
Yeah. And adding to this complexity are the escalating trade tensions between the U.S. and China. The U.S. imposed tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, and this, of course, led to retaliatory tariffs from China, which creates a trade war scenario. And this could have long-term consequences.
This trade war, it's really a reflection of a larger shift in global power dynamics. The U.S., it's still a dominant force, especially when it comes to technology. But China's economic slowdown, it does raise questions about its future trajectory. Some analysts, they attribute this slowdown to President Xi Jinping's economic policies, particularly his resistance to consumer stimulus measures. This raises questions about the sustainability of China's economic model, at least in the long run.
Right. Shifting gears a little bit, let's look at the political landscape. We saw a surge in elections globally in 2024, and it led to peaceful transitions of power in a bunch of countries like Britain, India, and South Africa. This seems to signal, at least to me, a resilience of democracy, at least some parts of the world.
Yeah. It's definitely encouraging to see these democratic processes unfolding peacefully, especially considering concerns about, democratic backsliding in other regions. It suggests that the desire for free and fair elections remains strong. It suggests that voters are willing to hold their leaders accountable.
Yeah. But a contrasting narrative emerges in Latin America. The Latino Barometro survey shows a lot of mixed sentiments about democracy in the region. Many express dissatisfaction with the current state of affairs. They harbor a lot of concerns about inequality and limited economic opportunities.
This highlights the fragility of democratic institutions. This is especially true in regions facing economic hardship and social unrest. So strong institutions, accountable leadership, inclusive economic growth. These things are essential if you want to strengthen democratic values and address people's concerns.
All right, let's turn our attention to climate change, an issue that, continues to dominate global headlines. Scientists are grappling with the acceleration of Earth's warming, and this might potentially be linked to the reduction of sulfur emissions, which, believe it or not, actually have a cooling effect on the planet.
Yeah, it's what's concerning is the complex interplay between sulfur emissions and cloud formation, and something called albedo. Albedo refers to the reflectivity of a surface. So reducing sulfur emissions, it's beneficial in some ways, but it might inadvertently be contributing to warming by altering cloud formation, which then alters the planet's ability to reflect sunlight.
And we're already seeing some of the real-world consequences of all of this.
Yeah.
Japan experienced its hottest summer on record this year, which led to a lot of deaths, a lot of hospitalizations, all heat-related. This is, just one example of these extreme weather events that are becoming more frequent and more intense globally.
Yeah, and these events really just, they serve as a stark reminder that climate change, it's not a distant threat. It's happening right now. It's impacting lives. It's impacting livelihoods. It underscores the urgency for global cooperation, innovation, and, frankly, individual action to mitigate climate change and just adapt to its unavoidable consequences.
Speaking of individual action, let's discuss philanthropy and the concept of effective altruism. This approach to charitable giving, which emphasizes data-driven decision-making and measurable impact, has been, It's been in the spotlight recently, albeit for controversial reasons. I'm talking, of course, about the Sam Bankman-Fried scandal. But this scandal, while of course unfortunate, it shouldn't overshadow the importance of informed giving.
It's crucial to differentiate between, the actions of individuals and the principles of effective altruism. Organizations like GiveWell, for example, they really exemplify this approach. They meticulously assess charities based on their impact and transparency. It gives donors a framework for maximizing the effectiveness of their contributions.
Yeah. GiveWell's data-driven approach encourages donors to look beyond emotional appeals and to focus on charities with proven track records. This ensures that charitable contributions are actually going towards initiatives that can create, genuine, lasting change.
Yeah. And this analytical approach to philanthropy is particularly crucial, especially as we navigate a world grappling with so many different challenges, from poverty and disease to climate change and social injustice. It allows us to allocate resources strategically, prioritize initiatives with the potential for transformative change.
Now, moving on to social and cultural shifts.
Yeah.
A concerning trend that we're seeing is the global increase in gambling addiction. This raises ethical questions about the gambling industry's profit model, frankly.
Yeah, the industry's reliance on a model that profits from an activity that, that can have such devastating consequences for individuals, for families, it does raise concerns about corporate responsibility and the ethical implications of business practices.
Another cultural institution facing a lot of scrutiny these days is the museum. Critics argue that museums are becoming static repositories. They say that they're failing to engage audiences in meaningful ways. This, of course, prompts a discussion about, what their role is in preserving heritage for future generations.
Yeah. This critique really challenges museums to evolve. It says, adapt to the changing needs and expectations of your audience. And it calls for a more interactive, inclusive, and, frankly, a more relevant approach to showcasing history and art and culture.
Let's shift our focus now to specific regions and issues that are shaping their narratives, starting with the United States. There is, a glimmer of hope in the fight against the opioid epidemic. Opioid deaths, primarily driven by fentanyl, they've actually shown signs of decline. This is after they reached a peak back in 2022.
This decline, it is encouraging, but we have to analyze what the contributing factors actually are. Is it increased awareness, treatment efforts, potential shifts in the drug supply? Understanding these factors is key to developing long-term strategies to combat this crisis effectively.
However, there's still controversy surrounding Donald Trump's cabinet appointments. Concerns about a lack of diversity and overemphasis on youth representation, it's really fueled a lot of debate.
These controversies raise questions about the administration's priorities. Do these appointments reflect a genuine commitment to representation? Or is it a strategic move to appeal to specific demographics?
Across the Atlantic, Germany is gearing up for its federal election. The focus has shifted. It's shifted away from the broader global issues to more immediate concerns, things like the economy, taxes, and welfare.
Yeah. This shift suggests that, voters are prioritizing their immediate economic well-being, how government policies directly impact their lives.
And adding another layer of complexity to the German political landscape is the rise of the far-right AfD party.
The AfD's growing popularity, particularly its focus on economic issues, really mirrors a global trend. We're seeing this trend of rising populism and nationalist sentiments.
Meanwhile, in Britain, the corner shop, or Bossman, as it's known, continues to demonstrate, really remarkable resilience and adaptability. All this has happened, of course, in the face of changing social and economic conditions.
Yeah, the boss man's resilience really highlights the entrepreneurial spirit and, frankly, the vital role that small businesses play in local communities.
But Britain is facing challenges in its defense strategy.
Yeah.
The country is grappling with, limited resources, obviously, and they need to balance their commitments across land, sea, and air power.
Yeah. It really underscores the difficult choices that governments face when they're trying to allocate resources in the face of competing priorities and budgetary constraints.
Turning our attention now to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, we're seeing the devastating impact of war on ordinary citizens. A very poignant example is the story of a family in Kursk preparing for Christmas amidst the conflict. It really illustrates the human cost of war.
That family story, it reminds us that, behind the headlines, behind the geopolitical maneuvering, there are real people whose lives are just irrevocably altered by conflict.
Adding to this human dimension is the cultural conflict in Odessa. We're seeing this surrounding the removal of Russian statues, the renaming of streets, It reflects a broader struggle over identity and history as Ukraine goes through this, process of decolonization.
This conflict highlights the complexities of decolonization and the challenges of reconciling with a painful past.
In Afghanistan, the plight of Afghan women cricketers who have been forced into exile due to the Taliban's ban on women playing sports. It shines a light on the ongoing struggle for women's rights and freedoms.
The story of Feroza Afghan, this young cricketer who fled her country to continue playing the sport she loves, it really exemplifies the courage and determination of Afghan women facing oppression.
Canada's political landscape is also in flux. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's leadership faces growing challenges as the 2025 federal elections approach.
The resignation of Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland amidst economic woes and the speculation surrounding her replacement, it highlights the political pressures, the complexities of navigating economic uncertainty.
Let's travel to Japan now. There's a journalist there who's undertaking a remarkable journey, retracing humankind's journey out of Africa, but on foot. This unique approach to storytelling really embodies the principles of slow journalism.
Slow journalism, it offers a fresh perspective on the world. It emphasizes in-depth reporting, nuanced storytelling. Often it reveals stories that traditional, fast-paced news cycles just overlook.
In Mexico, the critically endangered axolotl is finding unexpected fame. And it's because it's been included in the popular video game Minecraft.
Yeah. This unexpected intersection of gaming and conservation highlights the potential of popular culture to raise awareness about critical environmental issues.
Singapore, known for its unique hawker culture, this vibrant culinary tradition, faces a challenge now as younger generations are showing less inclination to actually enter this, demanding profession.
This generational shift presents a real dilemma. How do we balance preserving cultural heritage with evolving economic realities?
South Korea is facing a significant political crisis with the impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol after he tried to impose martial law.
This impeachment underscores the fragility of democratic norms and the importance of checks and balances to prevent abuses of power.
We've covered a lot of ground today, but there's still so much more to explore. So we'll delve into the rest of these global trends in part 2 of our deep dive.
Research is another area that's full of these fascinating developments and challenges.
One area that's particularly intriguing, I think, is the field of sex research. It seems like such a fundamental aspect of human experience, but it's often just shrouded in taboo.
Exactly, and that's exactly the challenge. Gathering accurate data in sex research, it's incredibly difficult. You have cultural sensitivities, government restrictions in some countries, methodological limitations, all these factors that make it hard to get good data.
Yeah, and this lack of reliable data, it really hinders our understanding of, human sexuality, relationships, and sexual health.
Absolutely. Researchers are exploring some innovative methods, cross-border collaborations. They're really trying to find ways to gather and analyze data more effectively.
Yeah. It seems like there's a real need for us to kind of break down these barriers and encourage, more open and honest conversations about sex and sexuality. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Overcoming these obstacles, it's crucial if we want to advance our knowledge in this really important field.
Yeah. Speaking of innovation, let's talk about how we deal with retired airplanes. It's another area where we see ingenuity and resourcefulness coming into play.
Yeah. It is fascinating to see how these, massive machines, once symbols of technological advancement, are given new life. Some are repurposed into hotels, museums, restaurants, incredible stuff. While others are stripped for parts, their valuable components finding new uses.
And it speaks to, I think, this growing emphasis on sustainability and reducing our environmental impact. Moving away from that throwaway culture towards a more circular economy. I think that's where we're headed.
Definitely. This shift in mindset, it's driven by a number of things, environmental concerns, economic necessity, technological advancements that are making recycling and repurposing more efficient and cost-effective. It's a positive trend, I think. I really do.
All right. Let's turn our attention to a region that's facing some of the, I guess you could say, most profound challenges, the Middle East. The recent events in Syria and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, they've had a real ripple effect throughout the region, impacting economies, political alliances, the lives of millions of people.
Yeah, it's a volatile situation. The overthrow of Bashar al-Assad in Syria, it created a power vacuum, leading to this situation where you have all these various groups vying for control. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, formerly affiliated with al-Qaeda, they've emerged as a significant force, for example.
Right, and the impact on Iran has been, it's been substantial. They've lost their ally in Syria, the disruption of their financial networks following the Hamas attack on Israel. All of this has weakened their regional influence.
And this power shift has created opportunities for other players in the region. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, they're all asserting their influence. Potentially reshaping the geopolitical landscape, it's hard to say for sure.
I mean, the Middle East, it remains a region of just immense complexity. There's a long history of conflict, shifting alliances. It's really, the long-term consequences of these recent events are still unfolding.
And it highlights the interconnectedness of global events. I mean, take the conflict in Ukraine, for example. It's had a direct impact on the Middle East, disrupting supply chains, contributing to inflation, exacerbating existing tensions.
Right. It's a reminder that events in one part of the world, they can have these far-reaching consequences, impacting economies, societies, political systems across the globe.
That's globalization for you. Interconnected world. Events in one corner of the globe can trigger a chain reaction. It really can.
Absolutely. We see this interconnectedness also in the luxury goods market. This industry, after years of robust growth, is actually experiencing a decline. Economic uncertainty, inflation, the war in Ukraine, they're all contributing factors, I think.
Definitely. And you can't forget the slowdown in China. It's a major market for luxury goods. The Chinese government's Common Prosperity Initiative, it's aimed at reducing income inequality. So this has led to a crackdown on, conspicuous consumption, which, of course, dampens demand for luxury items.
So the luxury goods industry, they're facing a bunch of challenges. Do you think they'll be able to adapt and recover? What do you think?
It's hard to say, honestly. I mean, some analysts believe that the industry is undergoing a correction, after a period of unsustainable growth, while others predict a prolonged slowdown as consumers become more cautious with their spending. I guess we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out.
It's a crossroads for sure. Okay, let's shift gears again and delve into the realm of science and technology. One of the most, fascinating stories this year has been the unexpected popularity of the axolotl, this critically endangered amphibian native to Mexico. And it's all thanks to its inclusion in the popular video game Minecraft.
Yeah, who would have thought? I mean, it just highlights the potential of popular culture to actually raise awareness and even contribute to conservation efforts. Minecraft has this massive reach. It's introduced a global audience to the axolotl, and potentially it's going to lead to increased support for conservation programs.
It really is remarkable, a video game having such a tangible impact on real-world conservation efforts.
It speaks to the power of engaging younger generations, on these environmental issues. I think by incorporating real-world challenges into these popular games and entertainment, we can foster a sense of connection with nature, inspire action to protect our planet.
From virtual worlds to real-world challenges, it's clear that technology is playing an increasingly significant role in shaping our understanding of the world around us.
Absolutely. Technology is not just about entertainment. It's driving innovation in so many fields, from energy and healthcare to transportation. It's offering solutions to some of humanity's most pressing challenges.
But with technology, of course, come challenges. Data privacy, the spread of misinformation, the ethical implications of artificial intelligence, just to name a few.
You're right. Navigating the digital age, it requires a critical and informed approach. We need to be aware of the potential pitfalls while also harnessing the power of technology for good.
Right. Speaking of navigating complex issues, let's discuss sex research. This is a field that, it's often surrounded by taboo. And despite its importance, gathering accurate data in this area is extremely challenging due to, like we said earlier, cultural sensitivities, government restrictions in certain parts of the world.
Yeah, and this lack of reliable data, like you said, it hinders our understanding of human sexuality, relationships, and sexual health. It's crucial that we break down the stigma surrounding this field and encourage open and honest conversations about these important issues.
And researchers are working on that. They're employing innovative methods, collaborating across borders. They're trying to overcome these barriers and collect data more effectively.
These efforts are so essential, They're essential to advancing our knowledge and understanding of this fundamental aspect of the human experience.
Absolutely. Another topic that I find fascinating is the afterlife of airplanes. It's intriguing to see how these once mighty machines are repurposed and given new life. pretty cool.
Some are transformed into, like I said, hotels, museums, restaurants, really showcasing their history and their engineering marvel. Others are stripped for parts, their valuable components finding their way into new aircraft or other industries.
This repurposing, it really does reflect a growing awareness of sustainability and the need to reduce our environmental impact. It's part of this shift toward, a circular economy where resources are used more efficiently and waste is minimized.
Yeah, and the aviation industry itself, known for its technological advancements, they're playing a role in this shift as well. They're exploring new materials, new designs, they're trying to create more fuel-efficient and sustainable aircraft.
It's encouraging to see, these industries adapting and innovating to reduce their environmental footprint. Okay, let's turn our attention now to a topic that I think often reveals some insights into human interaction, nicknames.
Nicknames are more than just, shortened versions of our names. They're like a form of social currency. They reveal power dynamics, relationships, cultural norms. They can be terms of endearment, expressions of camaraderie, even subtle forms of social control.
And it's amazing how a simple nickname can encapsulate so much meaning and reflect, the complexities of human relationships.
Absolutely. And nicknames aren't just for personal interactions, they're also used in branding. Companies are adopting them to create a sense of familiarity and intimacy with their customers. Take Walmart, for example. It's often referred to as Wally World.
Right. It's interesting how a nickname can evoke such strong emotions. It can shape our perception of a brand in such a powerful way.
It's a reminder that language is this powerful tool. It influences our behavior and even, defines our sense of belonging. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
From nicknames to nations. Let's turn our attention to South Korea, a country that's grappling with significant political and social change. The impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol after his attempt to impose martial law, it's really sent shockwaves through the country, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. This impeachment underscores the fragility of democratic institutions, the importance of upholding the rule of law, even during times of crisis. It sparked protests. It's raised concerns about political instability.
Yeah, with Prime Minister Han Duck-soo serving as acting president, the future of South Korean politics is very uncertain right now.
It's a situation that, warrants close attention as it unfolds because it could impact not only South Korea, but also, the broader geopolitical landscape of the region. It's a pretty big deal.
Absolutely. South Korea's political developments, they often have these ripple effects throughout East Asia, impacting relations with China, Japan, North Korea. And of course, you have the ongoing tensions on the Korean Peninsula. The unpredictable nature of the North Korean regime, it all adds another layer of complexity, to the situation.
It's a lot to keep track of, and it's a reminder that peace and stability, they're not guaranteed, even in the most developed and technologically advanced societies. Diplomacy, international cooperation, a commitment to dialogue, these are all essential if we want to address these global challenges and maintain peace.
Right. Let's shift our focus now to a conflict that has dominated headlines for much of the year, the war in Ukraine. It's a conflict that continues to have a devastating impact on the lives of millions.
Yeah, it's resulted in the displacement of families, the destruction of infrastructure, the disruption of global supply chains. It's also had a profound impact on Ukraine's workforce, leading to labor shortages, gender imbalances, and of course, the urgent need for economic recovery.
Yeah, and the human cost of this war is, it's immeasurable. Millions have been displaced. Countless lives have been lost. The international community has responded, of course, with humanitarian aid, military assistance, economic support, but the path to recovery, it's going to be long and it's going to be arduous.
Definitely. And the war in Ukraine, it's also had these really significant geopolitical implications, potentially reshaping alliances, redefining the global order. It's a big deal.
It's underscored the importance of international law. It's shown us how fragile peace can be. It's highlighted the need for collective action to address these threats to global security.
The world is watching, They're watching closely as events unfold, and they recognize the potential for this conflict to reshape the global landscape. Yeah. It's a real turning point in history, I think.
From the battlefields of Ukraine to the boardrooms of Silicon Valley, let's turn our attention to a company that's been making waves in the tech world, Broadcom. Under the leadership of CEO Hock Tan, Broadcom has become, a real tech powerhouse. And they've done this through strategic acquisitions and a diverse portfolio of products.
Yeah. Broadcom's recent success in the artificial intelligence chip market, it's been incredible. It's propelled their market value, placing them among these tech giants like Apple and Microsoft. But their approach, it's unique. Unlike a lot of tech companies that specialize, Broadcom is a conglomerate. They have divisions spanning, everything from wireless networking chips to enterprise software.
So this diversification strategy, it seems to be paying off for them, shielding them from some of the volatility that's affected other tech companies, I guess.
Yeah, it's a reminder that in the, rapidly evolving world of technology, adaptability, and a willingness to embrace change, these things are crucial if you want to be successful.
Now, let's explore a traditional art form that has endured for centuries, Chinese calligraphy. It's more than just beautiful writing. It's a revered art form in China, deeply rooted in their culture and history.
It requires immense skill and discipline. Practitioners dedicate years, to honing their craft. And despite all of China's political and social transformations, calligraphy has endured. It's adapted to new contexts while still retaining its core values. It's pretty amazing.
It speaks to the power of tradition, and the enduring appeal of these art forms that connect us to our cultural heritage.
Absolutely. In a world that's, rapidly changing certain practices and traditions, they offer a sense of continuity and stability. And I think Chinese calligraphy embodies this. It showcases the ability of art to transcend time and change.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, let's shift our focus now to a topic that's, I think, relevant to a lot of people thinking about education and career paths. The challenges faced by Ivy League graduates. These graduates, often among the, brightest and most ambitious individuals, they face immense pressure to succeed in specific fields like finance, consulting, and technology.
Yeah. And these industries, they offer high salaries, prestigious positions, a path to financial security, but they also demand long hours, intense competition, often a challenging work-life balance. It raises questions about, what's the purpose of education? What's the value of diverse career paths? What are the societal pressures that shape our aspirations?
It's a relevant conversation for sure, especially as we, grapple with issues of inequality, social mobility, the meaning of success in the 21st century.
Even those with access to, elite education, they face challenges and pressures when they're navigating their careers. It's not easy for anyone.
It's not a cakewalk, that's for sure. Okay, let's delve into a topic that might seem a little esoteric, but I think it offers some valuable insights into our present, the ecological impact of Pangaea, the supercontinent that existed millions of years ago.
Pangaea, yeah, it provides this fascinating case study in how geological events can have these profound ecological consequences. Its formation, it led to the extinction of many species, the creation of these vast deserts, significant changes in ocean currents and climate patterns. It was a big deal.
And the eventual breakup of Pangaea, which formed the continents as we know them, that also had a significant ecological impact, driving the evolution of new species, shaping the biodiversity of our planet.
It's incredible to think about, studying Earth's history, including these events like the formation and breakup of Pangaea. It gives us valuable insights into, the interconnectedness of Earth systems and the long-term consequences of environmental change.
Right, it's all connected. Okay, from ancient continents to modern workplaces, let's examine the, complex relationship between Donald Trump and organized labor.
Yeah. Despite his pro-union rhetoric, some of Trump's policies have actually been perceived as, potentially harmful to unions. So it raises questions about, what his true stance on organized labor is.
It highlights this ongoing tension between labor and capital and the role of government in regulating labor markets. It's a crucial issue, especially considering, the rising economic inequality and concerns about worker exploitation. It's a big issue.
Definitely. Understanding the nuances of labor relations, the impact of government policies, it's essential to ensuring that, workers are treated fairly.
From labor relations to the toy industry, let's turn our attention to Lego, a company that's been, a beloved part of childhood for generations. And despite challenges in the toy market, Lego continues to thrive. It shows their ability to adapt to changing trends, to innovate, and keep moving forward.
Yeah, and their efforts to find sustainable alternatives to plastic for their, iconic bricks, that's particularly noteworthy. This commitment to environmental responsibility, it reflects, I think, a growing consumer demand for eco-friendly products.
It's great to see. Lego's success, it's a testament to, the power of creativity, innovation, the commitment to sustainability. They're setting an example for other businesses.
Absolutely. Lego's approach, it highlights the importance of long-term thinking, considering the impact of business practices on future generations. It's a reminder that businesses have a responsibility to be good stewards of the environment, I think.
Okay, let's shift our focus back to the Middle East. The geopolitical and economic fallout from the Hamas attack on Israel has been significant. This event has had, ripple effects throughout the region and beyond, impacting international relations and global markets.
Definitely. The attack has strained relations between Israel and its neighbors. It's escalated tensions with Iran. It's raised concerns about the potential for wider conflict. And it's had a substantial economic impact as well, disrupting trade, fueling inflation, affecting energy markets.
This attack has underscored the challenges of achieving a lasting peace in the region. It serves as a reminder of the importance of diplomacy, dialogue, addressing the root causes of conflict if we want to achieve lasting peace.
The situation in the Middle East, it remains complex and volatile. It requires careful attention from the international community, a real commitment to finding peaceful resolutions to these long-standing conflicts. It's not going to be easy.
Okay, let's move to, a slightly lighter topic, the evolution of Hanukkah gift-giving. Hanukkah, a relatively minor Jewish holiday, has witnessed its gift-giving traditions becoming, increasingly prominent, especially in the United States.
Yeah, it's interesting. It reflects the influence of, I think, American consumer culture, the adaptation of religious practices to fit within, a new cultural context.
It's fascinating to see how these traditions, adapt and evolve over time.
Yeah.
It shows us that culture is dynamic, it's not static.
Cultural exchange and adaptation, it's a natural process, especially in multicultural societies.
Okay. From religious traditions to holiday entertainment, let's discuss the enduring appeal of, cheesy Christmas films.
Yeah.
You know those, right? Despite their, predictable plots, sentimental storylines, these films have a devoted following.
Yeah, they offer a sense of escapism, nostalgia, a reinforcement of traditional values. They provide comfort and familiarity, especially during a time of year that can be, a little bit hectic, a little bit emotionally charged.
Right. It's clear that these films tap into, I think a universal desire for these heartwarming stories, particularly during the holiday season. They offer a temporary escape from reality, and they reinforce the values of family, love, and kindness. It's a nice break from the real world, I think.
I agree. These films, despite their, simplicity, they provide a sense of community, a shared experience, especially in a world that can often feel divided and uncertain.
Okay, from heartwarming holiday films to, thought-provoking cinema, let's delve into the film Baby Girl and its exploration of female desire and power dynamics.
Baby Girl, it challenges traditional narratives. It pushes boundaries in its portrayal of female sexuality. It sparked conversations about consent, power, our evolving understanding of gender roles and relationships.
Yeah. And the film has generated a lot of debate and controversy, hasn't it?
Definitely. It reflects the ongoing evolution of societal attitudes towards sexuality, gender, and power, especially in the wake of movements like #MeToo.
And it's important for art to challenge norms and spark these conversations,
Absolutely. Baby Girl highlights the power of cinema to provoke thought and encourage critical engagement with these complex social issues.
From the complexities of human relationships to the solitude of a hermit's life, let's explore the story of Brother Harold Palmer. He's a modern-day hermit who lived a solitary life in England, inspired by, early Christian monastic traditions.
Yeah. His story offers this really unique perspective on spirituality, the search for meaning, the appeal of solitude in a world that often feels, overwhelming and chaotic.
Right. His choice to live a life apart from the mainstream. I think it reflects a yearning for, simplicity, contemplation, a deeper connection to his faith.
Definitely. It highlights the diversity of human experience, the importance of respecting individual choices.
We've explored some pretty weighty topics, so let's maybe shift to something a bit more lighthearted for a moment, but still insightful. I'm talking about the enduring appeal of cheesy Christmas films. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, those Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of fascinating how these films with their, predictable plots, sentimental storylines, they still manage to captivate audiences, especially during the holiday season.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guilty of watching a few myself. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think they offer a sense of escapism, nostalgia, maybe even a reinforcement of, traditional values. They provide comfort, familiarity, especially during a time of year that can be pretty hectic and emotionally charged.
Yeah. It seems like even in a world that's becoming increasingly complex and, uncertain, There's this longing for simple, heartwarming stories, especially during the holidays.
Absolutely. They tap into those fundamental human needs.
Mhm.
Connection, belonging, a reaffirmation of those things that bring us joy and hope.
Speaking of joy and hope, one story that really resonated with me was that, the unexpected rise to fame of the axolotl, all thanks to its inclusion in that video game Minecraft.
Yeah, it's a great example of how popular culture can actually have a positive impact on conservation efforts. By introducing this endangered species to, a global audience, Minecraft has sparked curiosity and hopefully some donations to help support the axolotl survival.
It's really quite incredible how a video game can have such a tangible impact on real-world conservation.
It shows you the power of technology and entertainment, They can engage people with these issues they might not otherwise even think about.
Yeah. From endangered species to the world of education, what about Japan's unique approach to education? I'm curious to get your take on that.
Well, the Japanese education system really emphasizes character development alongside, academic achievement. They have this concept called chitokutai. It basically emphasizes the balance of intellectual ability, moral integrity, and physical health. It's a pretty holistic approach.
That's interesting. Do you think there are valuable lessons to be learned from that approach?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, there's a growing body of research that highlights the importance of, social emotional learning and character development, nurturing well-rounded individuals. It's crucial for personal and societal well-being.
And that ties in with, our earlier conversation about effective altruism. Creating a better world involves cultivating those values and skills that enable us to make a positive impact.
Exactly. Fostering a sense of purpose, a commitment to ethical behavior, the ability to think critically and solve problems. Those are the qualities that will drive meaningful change.
So we've covered an incredible range of topics in this deep dive. Global events, political upheavals, heartwarming stories, individual acts of resilience. I mean, it's clear that we live in a world that's constantly changing, presenting us with, both challenges and opportunities.
And while the complexities of our world can feel, a little overwhelming at times, it's important to remember that we're not just passive observers. We have the power to make choices, to take action, to shape the future we want to see.
Right, whether it's, supporting ethical businesses, engaging in thoughtful discussions about important issues, or just simply, embracing a more compassionate and understanding approach to our fellow human beings, we can all contribute to a better world.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness, embracing the complexities of our world, and remembering that even amidst uncertainty and challenge, there's always hope. There's always the potential for positive change.
Well said. Thank you for joining us on the Brandcast. We hope this deep dive has provided you with a fresh perspective on the world and inspired you to engage with the issues that matter most.